In the beginning, there was silence, infinite, dark, pregnant silence. And then, something happened. A ripple, a wave, a sound. The Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." The Vedas say, "Nada Brahma," the world is sound. The Quran says, "Kun fayakun," be and it is, a spoken command. The Big Bang Theory says, the universe began not with a flash of light, but with a sudden expansion of energy that created a cosmic hum. For thousands of years, we thought these were just metaphors. We thought the word was poetry. We thought the chanting of monks and mystics was just religious ritual. But what if they were describing a literal physics? What if the solid ground you are standing on, the chair you are sitting in, and the hand holding your phone are not solid at all? What if they are just sound waves vibrating so slowly that they appear frozen? And what if there is a specific frequency, a master key that unlocks the code of this reality? A sound that, when uttered, aligns your DNA with the rotation of the galaxies. The Sufis have known this secret for centuries. They call it HU. Welcome back to Hidden Atlas. Today, we are going to explore the acoustic architecture of the universe. We are going to decode the law of vibration. We are going to look at the cymatics experiments that prove sound creates form. We are going to examine the string theory of modern physics, which claims we are living in a cosmic symphony. We are going to analyze the biological effects of the sound HU on the human brain, the vagus nerve, and the heart. And finally, we are going to teach you the technique, the ancient method of tuning the human instrument to the frequency of the source. To understand this mystery, we have to start with the man who invented the 20th century, Nikola Tesla. Tesla was obsessed with frequency. He famously said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Tesla believed that the entire universe was a single substance vibrating at different rates. He believed that if you could find the resonant frequency of an object, you could control it. He once claimed that he could split the earth in half like an apple if he could find the right mechanical resonance. He wasn't crazy. He was seeing the matrix. Everything is moving, even a stone. If you look at a stone under an electron microscope, you see atoms. What are atoms? Protons, neutrons, and electrons. Are they solid balls? No, they are vortices of energy. They are spinning, they are vibrating, and anything that vibrates makes a sound. We cannot hear the sound of the atom because it is too high for our ears. We cannot hear the sound of the earth rotating because it is too low, but the sound is there. The universe is singing. The ancient mystics didn't have microscopes, but they had a technology that we have forgotten. They had silence. They shut out the noise of the world. They went into caves. They went into the desert. They quieted their minds until their brain waves shifted from beta to theta. And in that deep silence, they heard it. They heard the background noise of the universe. It sounded like a deep, resonant hum, a wind blowing through a reed, a breath. Hue, hue, hue. They realized that this sound was the engine of creation. It was the sound of the life force itself. H is the sound of the breath, the exhalation, the spirit. U is the sound of resonance, the deep vibration in the chest. They combined them into HU. They didn't invent this name, they discovered it. They realized that every living being says this name unconsciously. Listen to the wind in the trees. Listen to the ocean waves. Listen to your own breath when you are in deep sleep. It is the universal lullaby. But why does sound create reality? How does an invisible wave create a visible form? To answer this, we have to look at one of the most visually stunning fields of science, cymatics. In the 18th century, a German musician and physicist named Ernst Chladni took a metal plate, covered it with sand, and ran a violin bow across the edge. As the plate vibrated, the sand didn't just jump around randomly, it organized itself. It formed beautiful geometric patterns, stars, mandalas, hexagons. When he changed the pitch, the frequency, the pattern changed. Higher frequencies created more complex, intricate geometries. Lower frequencies created simple shapes. In the 20th century, Dr. Hans Jenny took this further. He used liquids and powders. He played the sounds of vowels, A, O, U. He found that the sound O, ohm, created a perfect circle with a center point. He found that complex sounds created shapes that looked like starfish, flowers, and even human organs. This was the proof. Sound is not just something you hear. Sound is a force that organizes matter. In the beginning was the word. The word is the frequency. The world is the pattern the sand makes. You are the sand. The universe is the metal plate. God is the violin bow. This changes everything we know about biology. We think our bodies are built by genes, but what tells the genes how to build? What is the architect? The new science of biophysics suggests that DNA is not just a chemical molecule, it is a biological antenna. It transmits and receives frequency. It creates a morphogenetic field, a sound field, that acts as a blueprint. Your liver cells go to the right place because they are vibrating at the liver frequency. Your heart cells beat because they are tuned to the heart frequency. Disease, then, is not just a chemical problem, it's a musical problem. A sick organ is an organ that has lost its tuning. It is playing the wrong note. It is out of tune. And to heal it, you don't just need drugs, you need to remind it of the correct song. This is the basis of sound healing, and this is why the Sufis chant. They are not trying to appease a deity, they are trying to retune their bodies. But the sound HU is special. It is not just any sound. It is considered the supreme name, the name that encompasses all other names. In the next part, we will dive into the specific physics of HU. We will look at string theory and why modern physicists are starting to sound like ancient dervishes. We will discover why the universe is made of music strings and how you can play your own string.
Let us zoom in, past the cells, past the molecules, past the atoms, past the nucleus. What is at the very bottom of reality? For a long time, we thought it was particles, little dots of stuff, quarks, leptons, but the math didn't work. The particles were unpredictable. They popped in and out of existence. Then, a new theory emerged, string theory. According to Mikio Kaku, one of the leading theoretical physicists in the world, the fundamental constituent of the universe is not a dot. It is a tiny, vibrating filament of energy, a string. Just like a guitar string, if you pluck a guitar string one way, it makes an A note. If you pluck it another way, it makes a C note. The string is the same, the vibration is different. String theory says that an electron is just a string vibrating at electron pitch. A quark is a string vibrating at quark pitch. Gravity is a vibration. Light is a vibration. Matter is a vibration. Dr. Kaku famously said, "The mind of God is cosmic music resonating through 11-dimensional hyperspace." Think about that. Cosmic music. The physicists have finally caught up to the mystics. Pythagoras said this 2,500 years ago, the music of the spheres. The Sufis said this 1,000 years ago. The universe is the reflection of the breath of the compassionate, Nafis al-Rahman. If the universe is music, then we are the instruments, but most of us are playing out of tune. We are full of static, stress, fear, anger, toxin. These are dissonant frequencies. They disrupt the harmony of our strings. The Sufi practice of zikr, remembrance, is the act of tuning the instrument, and the tuning fork they use is hu. Why hu? Why this specific syllable? Why not banana or Coca-Cola? Why do sacred sounds always have deep vowels? Om, amin, amin, shalom, hum. Let's look at the anatomy of the sound. Say who, pronounced like the English word who. Notice what happens in your mouth. Your lips form a circle. Your tongue does not touch the roof of your mouth. It does not touch your teeth. It floats in the center. The air flows unobstructed from the lungs, through the throat, and out the lips. Most consonants, B, K, T, D, require friction. You have to stop the air. You have to create a blockage to make the sound. T hits the teeth. K hits the back of the throat. Consonants represent the material world, collision, friction, limitation. But hu is pure flow. It is the sound of air moving without friction. It represents the spirit, which flows through matter but is not trapped by it. In Sufi metaphysics, hu represents the absolute essence of God, the unknown, the unseen. Before God became Allah, the God with attributes, he was just hu, he or it, the primal identity. It is the sound of the universe before the Big Bang. When you chant hu, you are replicating the original vibration of the source. You are aligning your personal frequency with the frequency of the 0-point field. Let's look at the connection to other traditions. In Sanskrit, the sound hu refers to the ability to invoke the gods. In ancient Egypt, hu was the god of the spoken word, the personification of the first breath of creation. Even in English, we call ourselves human. What does human mean? Man comes from manas, mind. Hu means God or spirit. Human means the God mind, or the spirit encapsulated in mind. We carry the name in our very species definition. We just forgot what it means. But this is not just linguistics, it is biology. When you make the sound hu, you are creating a specific type of vibration in your chest cavity and your skull. This vibration does something physical to your body. It is a biohack. In the West, we have just discovered the power of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. It connects the brain to the heart, the lungs, and the gut. It is the superhighway of the parasympathetic nervous system. It controls your ability to relax. It controls your immune system. It controls your digestion. Most modern people have low vagal tone. We are stressed, anxious, always in fight or flight mode. Our vagus nerve is asleep. How do you wake it up? You can't massage it with your hands, it's inside, but you can massage it with sound. The vagus nerve passes right through the vocal cords and the inner ear. When you hum or chant or sing, you physically vibrate the vagus nerve. This stimulation sends a signal to the brain, we are safe, relax, heal. Studies have shown that chanting om or hu slows down the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and creates heart coherence. We talked about heart-brain in the heart-brain video. It is the state where the heart and brain are synchronized. The sound hu is the bridge that synchronizes them. But there is another chemical secret, nitric oxide. In 2002, researchers at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden made a fascinating discovery. They found that humming increases the production of nitric oxide in the nasal cavity by 15 times. Nitric oxide, or NO, is a miracle molecule. It dilates blood vessels, lowering blood pressure. It improves oxygenation, but more importantly, it is a potent antiviral and antibacterial agent. It kills germs. When you hum, you are sterilizing your nose and sinuses. You are boosting your immune system instantly. The Sufis didn't know about nitric oxide, but they knew that after a long session of chanting hu, they felt healthier, they felt clearer, they felt light. They were flooding their systems with healing chemistry through the power of sound. But the effect goes deeper than the physical body. It affects the brain waves. Normal consciousness is beta waves, 14 to 30 hertz, busy, stressed, analytical. Meditation aims for alpha, 8 to 13 hertz, relaxed, intuitive, dreamy. The sound hu, when chanted in a group or with deep focus, drives the brain into gamma waves, 40 hertz plus. Gamma is the frequency of superconsciousness. It is associated with high-level information processing, insight, and moments of epiphany. It is the brain state of the aha moment. The dervishes spin to induce this state. The chanters chant to induce this state. They are using sound to shift gears in the brain to access the files that are normally locked. So, hu is not a religious word. It is a piece of technology. It is a sonic tool designed to hack the nervous system, boost the immune system, and shift the consciousness. In the next part, we are going to look at the most esoteric aspect of this technology, the DNA connection. Can sound actually rewrite your genetic code? The Russian scientists say yes, and the implications are mind-blowing.
We have been taught that our DNA is a fixed blueprint, that we are victims of our genes. My father had heart disease, so I will have heart disease. This is the old science, the Newtonian science. The new science, quantum biology, tells a different story. It tells us that DNA is not a hard drive. It is a majestic, holographic biocomputer that can be reprogrammed. And the language it speaks is frequency. Dr. Peter Garyaev, a Russian biophysicist, conducted groundbreaking experiments on DNA. He found that DNA acts like a language. It has syntax, it has grammar. But more importantly, he found that DNA reacts to sound. He used modulated laser light encoded with sound frequencies, radio waves, to talk to the DNA. He managed to transform frog embryos into salamander embryos simply by transmitting the salamander frequency to the frog DNA. He didn't cut the genes, he didn't use chemicals, he used vibration. This proves that DNA is a frequency receiver. It is constantly listening to the environment. And what is the closest source of sound to your DNA? Your own voice. Every word you speak sends a shockwave through your body. Every time you say, I am sick, I am tired, I am broken, you are sending a command to your genome. You are casting a spell on yourself. Abracadabra comes from the Aramaic avra kedabra, which means I create as I speak. This gives a terrifying new meaning to negative self-talk, but it also gives us the cure. If chaotic sounds, anger, city noise, 440 Hz music can damage our DNA, then coherent sounds can repair it. This is where HU comes in. The frequency of the human voice when chanting a sacred sound like HU creates a pattern called a soliton wave. A soliton is a wave that does not lose energy as it travels. It can move through the DNA helix like a key in a lock. When you chant HU with intention, you are bathing your cells in a coherent resonance. You are telling your DNA, return to the factory settings, return to the divine blueprint. This connects to the concept of the phantom DNA effect we discussed in the Akashic Records video. DNA holds light. Sound structures light. Therefore, sound structures DNA. Let's look at the emotional aspect of HU. In Sufism, the heart, qalb, is the center of the human being. It is not just a pump, it is an oscillator. The heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the body. When you are heartbroken, grieving, or depressed, the magnetic field of the heart shrinks. It becomes chaotic. The sound HU is known as the love song to God. But you don't have to believe in a bearded man in the sky to use it. You can view God as the universe, the source, the quantum field. The emotion of love is a frequency. It is 528 Hz, according to some theorists, or simply a state of high coherence. When you chant HU, you are meant to focus on the heart center.
You visualize the sound vibrating in the chest. This physical vibration breaks up the emotional armor we carry. We store trauma in the chest. We feel heavy-hearted. The sonic vibration of HU acts like a jackhammer, a gentle one, that breaks up the calcified energy in the heart chakra. People often cry when they chant HU for the first time. These are not tears of sadness, they are tears of release. The vibration shakes loose the old grief, the old anger, the old pain. It is a sonic detox. This brings us to the collective power of sound. What happens when 1,000 people chant together, or 1,000,000? We know about the Maharishi effect, that group meditation lowers crime rates. Imagine the HU effect. If sound creates form, cymatics, then a massive group of people chanting a sound of peace and love would physically alter the structure of the atmosphere. It would create a coherent field around the planet. It would harmonize the Schumann resonance, the Earth's heartbeat. The ancient civilizations knew this. That is why they built the pyramids, the cathedrals, and the mosques with specific acoustic properties. These buildings were not just tombs or halls. They were amplifiers. They were giant stone speakers designed to amplify the human voice to resonate with the stars. The king's chamber in the Great Pyramid is tuned to a specific frequency. When you lie in the sarcophagus and chant, the sound reflects back at you with incredible power. It induces an altered state of consciousness instantly. They were using sound to trigger the release of DMT in the brain, to launch the soul into the astral realms. We have lost the pyramids, we have lost the temples, but we still have the instrument. We have the lungs, we have the voice, we have the heart. You are a walking pyramid. You are a walking cathedral, and the sound HU is the key that turns on the power. So how do you do it? How do you use this ancient technology in your modern living room? You don't need a robe, you don't need a beard, you don't need to convert to Sufism. You just need breath and intention. In the final part, we will give you the practical protocol. We will teach you how to chant the HU. We will show you how to use it for anxiety, for sleep, and for spiritual connection. And we will give you a challenge.
Knowledge without application is just noise. We have talked about the physics, the biology, and the history. Now, let's talk about the practice. This is the Hidden Atlas Protocol for sonic alignment. You can do this anywhere, in your car, in the shower, before bed. But to get the full effect, treat it like a scientific experiment. Give it 20 minutes a day for a week. Step 1. The setup. Sit comfortably. Keep your spine straight. The spine is the antenna. You want the energy to flow freely from the base to the brain. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Release the tension in your jaw. Release the tension in your shoulders. Step 2, the breath. Inhale deeply into your belly. Fill your lungs completely. The sound hu is an exhalation. It is not short. It is a long, drawn-out note. Hu. Step 3, the pitch. Don't worry about being a good singer. This is not music. This is resonance. Find a pitch that feels comfortable. Usually, a middle-range pitch works best. If you go too high, it vibrates the head. If you go too low, it vibrates the gut. You want it to vibrate the chest, the heart center. Adjust your pitch until you physically feel your breastbone buzzing. That is the sweet spot. Step 4. The pronunciation. It is not who with a hard W. It is a breathy H, like you are fogging up a mirror. Who. The oo sound should be long and smooth. Let the sound fade away gently at the end. Don't cut it off. Listen to the silence immediately after the sound stops. That silence is powerful. That is the vacuum where the creation happens. Step 5. The visualization, the hima. As you chant, focus your attention on your heart. Imagine a spinning vortex of white or golden light in the center of your chest. With every hu, imagine the light getting brighter and expanding. Imagine this light cleaning your blood, repairing your cells, opening your mind. Step 6. The duration. Do this for 15 to 20 minutes. At first, your mind will wander. I look stupid. What am I making for dinner? This is normal. The ego hates the sound because the sound threatens the ego. Just gently bring your focus back to the sound. After about 5 minutes, the vagus nerve kicks in. Your body will relax. After 10 minutes, the nitric oxide floods the system. You will feel tingling. After 15 minutes, you might enter theta state. You might see colors. You might feel a sense of overwhelming love. The variations. The silent hu. You can chant it internally. In a meeting, in traffic. Imagine the sound echoing inside your skull. It is almost as effective. The sleep hack. If you have insomnia, chant hu gently in your mind. It mimics the frequency of deep sleep. It will knock you out faster than a pill. The anxiety hack. If you are having a panic attack, chant it out loud. The vibration of the vagus nerve acts as an emergency brake for the panic response. Why does this matter? We are living in a world of frequency war. We are bombarded by noise, traffic, sirens, construction, notifications, the hum of the refrigerator, the buzz of the 5G tower. This noise is dissonant. It creates stress. It fragments our consciousness. We need a shield. We need a way to recenter ourselves. The hu is a self-generated shield. When you chant, you create a standing wave around your body. You become a tuning fork, and a strong tuning fork forces the weaker tuning forks to resonate with it. This means that by chanting hu, you are not just healing yourself. You are healing the room. You are healing your family. You are healing your cat. You are broadcasting a signal of order into a world of chaos. This is the secret of the friends of God, the Walis. They didn't just pray with words. They anchored frequency. They walked through the markets chanting internally, and people felt happy just looking at them. They were walking towers of 5G, but God's 5G, 5G of grace. You have the same hardware as Rumi. You have the same hardware as Tesla. The difference is the software and the practice. We are giving you the software. The universe is sound. You are the song. Tune your instrument. Don't believe us. Try it. Be a skeptic, but be an experimental skeptic. Do the hu challenge. 7 days, 20 minutes. See if your anxiety drops. See if your dreams get clearer. See if the world looks brighter. The hidden atlas is not just a map of places. It is a map of potentials. You have a symphony sleeping inside your vocal cords. Wake it up. Thank you for tuning in to the frequency of truth. This episode was a deep dive into the invisible architecture of reality. If you felt the vibration while listening, tell us in the comments. Have you ever used sound for healing? Subscribe to Hidden Atlas. We are turning up the volume on the mysteries. Until next time, take a deep breath and let it out. Hu.